APUs have come really far. This one in particular is in the new Asus TUF A14 gaming laptop and doesn't have a discrete GPU. It is equipped with AMD's new Strix Halo AI MAX Plus 392, and the performance is pretty impressive for only an integrated GPU. Welcome to Machines and More. On this channel, I cover a variety of PC and tech topics. I do a lot of PC building related topics. I don't test too much on the mobile side of things usually. I'm trying to step up coverage in that arena, but was fairly intrigued by the Strix Halo lineup anyway. So I wanted to do a quick comparison today and show you what kind of gaming and general performance that I got out of it. And a big thanks to Asus for sending over one of their tester units for me to do some benchmarking with. Disclaimer, as with all my reviews, they're not sponsored by the manufacturer, and the feedback that you'll hear today will be objectively my own. So AI Max Plus 392 and 388, that was kind of a quiet AMD launch at CES 2026. The new AI Max Plus 392 that this is equipped with, it sits just beneath the flagship 395, which was launched in 2025. The concession here is 4 fewer Zen 5 CPU cores. Still got 12 though, and you do have a slightly lower max boost clock here. Because it features the same Radeon 8060S integrated GPU, which is equipped with 40 RDNA 3.5 compute units though, this could be a more interesting model for casual gamers that don't need all 16 CPU cores, but still want the strong iGPU performance in a very thin and compact mobile gaming machine. Reason being that many games tend to be limited by the GPU as opposed to the CPU. In other words, an objectively better CPU for your typical CPU heavy workloads may not give any noticeable performance bump in gaming if its performance is limited by a GPU that is already maxed out. And we're going to see what the performance is like here. So main objective today is just to give you a quick gaming and CPU performance comparison between a model equipped with the 395 and this one, the 392, as well as share some facts and my impressions of this A14 here. And since it is a new model, I don't get very long on the loan, so I can't give you a deep dive at this point just yet. So the focus today will be more really on just the APU performance. But quick facts. A14 here is a 14-inch laptop, and it weighs in at roughly 1.5 kilograms, and it's 17 millimeters thick. Very compact for what this is capable of. It is equipped with a 2.5K 165Hz panel with 100% sRGB coverage. You've got these slim bezels, and once I got this, I was actually a little bit surprised because it feels way more premium than I initially expected. Aluminum on the lid and the bottom, the keyboard surround is plastic, and with its slim form factor, it is way more business-like than gaming-like. In fact, there's nothing, specifically screams gaming laptop, and I kind of like that, right? This particular one I have here is equipped with 32 gigs of the unified LPDDR5X 8000 mega transfer per second. Specifically for the Asus A14, you can option up to 64 gig for this series. That might be a little bit more suitable for serious workstation or video editing or running LLMs locally. Now, I will say if local LLMs are mission critical, a different device with 128 gigs, which is the how you can max this particular APU out, that will make more sense than the TUF lineup, and that'll allow you to work with bigger models. Now, that's not something that I cover extensively here on this channel at this point, so I won't delve into that much in this video. But the 32 gig model that I have here, this will make sense for a gaming or general purpose device. You want to do kind of both productivity and some casual gaming. But do be aware you can't upgrade the RAM down the road because that's soldered on for Strix Halo. So if you do think you need that extra RAM, definitely option it on at the beginning. Storage wise, this A14 comes with 1 terabyte, and you can install another M.2 yourself, which is very convenient, and you can also upgrade the original M.2 as well. The user can configure a static amount of RAM delegated to the iGPU, and you can also configure or adjust the amount that's dynamically allocatable between the iGPU and the CPU up to a max of 27 gigs as VRAM on this 32 gig equipped model. For the testing here, I have this plugged in and set to the Windows Performance Power Plan, and there was a minimum of 4 gigs dedicated to the iGPU, and I allowed up to 14 gigs to be shared to the iGPU, which will pretty much cover any gaming usage that the 8060S can reasonably handle. The AI MAX plus 395 model that I'm comparing to is a different device, though, and that's the ROG Flow Z13. That's a tablet form factor, so you're going to see some differences due to that cooling difference, form factor difference, especially in combined GPU, CPU heavy scenarios. But that's just a little reference point to show you what's going on here. So first off, let's take a look at the CPU performance, and we'll start with Cinebench R24. The 392 comes in with a 1303 score for multi-core and 110 for single core. That's good. To put it into perspective, that is just a little lower than desktop 9800X Rudy and a little higher than 9700X. Both of those are Zen 5 AMD parts. Single core performance is going to be a little bit more akin to the older 7600X and 7700X. But either way, for performance like this out of a mobile part is remarkably good, and that means that if you need mobility within your workflow, you can still get excellent top-end performance. For CPU heavy performance, it does pull about 109 watts when I measured it at the wall, and with 50% brightness on the screen. So while that is quite efficient compared to those desktop counterparts, which can easily go beyond that just on the CPU package power, there's still quite a lot of power here for a mobile system, and figure you have a 72 watt hour battery here. So for most extended productivity sessions, you're absolutely going to need to be plugged in to get any meaningful time out of it. Cinebench 2026, as we might expect, the 395 does have a bit of an advantage with those extra cores. It's only about 9% faster, though. Faster single core performance with the 392 in the A14. For Geekbench 6, the performance here is fairly similar. You got a small edge to the 395. The GPU performance, although the same one, the A14's laptop form factor does do a little bit better here for the GPU test. In Blender, you have a small edge to the 395, but it's only 5% or so of a reduction in time. One area the CPU performance from these APUs could be very useful for is creative applications such as video editing. I use Davinci Resolve. In the Puget Bench test, the 392 puts up a fairly decent performance, and it's actually a stronger performance overall compared to the Z13. I believe that's because this is the heavy combined use, and that's going to be an area where that form factor and cooling difference comes into play. In my experience, this will be absolutely good enough for general 4K editing with H.264 or HEVC masters, plus some light color grading. And I did try to color grade some 4K DCI ProRes RAW footage here even, and there's absolutely no issues with playback and editing. But if you do step up to higher bitrate footage, such as this Canon 7K RAW Lite, which, this is just a clip from a previous video of mine, it really can't handle it. And it's playing back at 1 FPS here, which is completely unusable for editing unless you have already recorded proxies or transcode your footage first. Now, if you do transcoding, that process is going to eat up a lot of time if you're doing it on the laptop. Now, my personal laptop is an older 14-inch Apple M1 Max, and I think I did a video on that years ago when it first launched. Almost 5-year-old processor at this point, but it has specific hardware encoders and decoders that will allow it to still outperform this brand new 392 APU, as well as very tight software to hardware optimization. And that allows even something like that to punch well above its weight. As you can see here, Cinebench 26 results indicating that the performance should be expected to be worse, not better, right? But if you do have a more creative application workflow focus, it is still really hard to look past the pro level M series Apple chips. 3D Mark Time Spy, the 392 here benchmarked better than the Z13. Now, I had previously a Zephyrus G14 with a 4060 mobile DGPU, and that would score right around 10K to 10,500. So the 8060S does appear similar to that for rasterization. And generally speaking, these APUs will give you playable AAA performance if you step down to 1900 by 1200 resolution and medium settings. These results here, I'm going to give you without any upscaling or frame generation enabled, just to make them more translatable. You can, of course, experiment with that. Cyberpunk, this is completely playable at this resolution. I did get some stutters every now and then, so it's not always perfect. I did find performance with the 392 in this form factor to beat out the 395 in the Z13, which mirrors some of the combined benchmarks that we saw earlier. The iGPU is the same Radeon 8060S, but in the A14 laptop form factor, it's actually spec'd to clock in a little bit higher for my testing. So if you are deciding between the two, I'd personally go with the A14 unless you absolutely need the tablet style setup. For something on the go, and considering that there's no DGPU, it's actually pretty impressive. At the native screen resolution of 2560 by 1600, the frame rate is going to be lower. So if you don't mind going a bit under 60 FPS, this can still be okay if you want the higher resolution. At your Windows performance power plan settings, the gaming power draw is well over 100 watts. I dialed in the manual setting in Armory Crate. It's not my preferred tool, but it is the first party application, so I wanted to make sure that I was testing with it. And I limited the APU to a max of 50 watts, and that put the system right at right around 85 watts for gaming. With the reduction in power here, I only saw a small dip in FPS, so that may also be worth considering. Now, even a poorly optimized title in Monster Hunter Wilds can run okay on this system as well. This one can at times be limited by the single core capability of the CPU, so the results are a little bit closer here. But I would expect 1900 by 1200 medium settings to be within the realm of playable. Perhaps a little frustrating at times, but definitely it'll be okay. So for Cyberpunk with the Windows performance setting, it does pull down about 100 to 110 watts when gaming. So it's not particularly power efficient. You will get quite a bit of fan noise at that setting. I do have that on. So if you reduce things down to total system power around 85 watts, I'd expect about an hour if you're gaming on battery. So even though there's no DGPU here, the power draw does still limit you a little bit for gaming on the fly. Now for lightweight use, just browsing emails and that sort of thing, I have the screen dimmed to 50%, Windows silent power plan. I'd expect around 5 to 6 hours here. You've got a 72 watt hour battery here. So say you're on the plane and you're just doing some word processing, you'll be okay for shorter flights, but definitely consider plugging it in for longer or international flights, especially if you want to be gaming on it. So to sum things up, what is the point of something like this? Why would you get this versus a traditional gaming laptop like Asus's Zephyrus G14 with the DGPU? So I know that's a quote gaming laptop, but my impression is this is actually going to be more slanted towards CPU and workstation applications, especially AI application performance, with the side benefit that the integrated GPU is quite capable for casual gaming. So super powerful workstation performance plus casual gaming. Now in similar form factor, the new ROG Zephyrus G14s are still upcoming, and I can't say for sure what the performance will be like, but that one's the other side of the spectrum, right? That I'd expect the CPU performance with the Intel Core Ultra 3 386H to lag behind the AI MAX plus 392. And I've seen so far 5070 Ti mobile headline spec. So paired with that G14 model, raw graphics performance will be better there. So if you're looking for a gaming focused machine, then I do think, yeah, you absolutely should wait, see what the new SKUs bring. But specific to the A14, knowing that this retails for $2,200 US and not knowing what those G14s are going to be priced at, but they might be a little bit higher than this. Use case of the AI MAX plus 392 is different, like I mentioned. It's narrow, niche specific. You may not need all the performance of the 395, but you still need the bulk of it, and you still want that 8060S integrated GPU, and you need all of it on the go. As a more comparable reference point, HP is selling their ZBook Ultra G1A for just over $2,100 now. That came out with a crazy headline price. But even though that APU has the Pro moniker, it is a weaker AI Max Pro 385. So that comes with the 8050S iGPU. So there's no question I would rather have this for $2,200. So that'll do it for this one. Please make sure you give a like and subscribe. I mentioned I am building out my coverage on this channel, so your feedback, your engagement always helps. So I'll see you on the next one.